Hey everybody, we are getting ready to go live here. We've just got a little bit of a countdown to let a few people join. I know we have a break from the Darrell Brooks trial today, so what I've done is I put together some of my favorite, I've got 7 or 8 of my favorite highlights from this trial. I've got some video clips to show you. Some of you might have missed it. If you have, or if you want to talk about it or review some of these or see what I referred to them as, I think you might like that. But we're going to, sorry, that's a little bit loud there. We're gonna be going in just a couple minutes. We're just letting a few people join. We've got some moderators I want on here before we really get going because we get some weirdos on here for some reason. I'm not sure why, but just a little background before we get going. Before we dig into the meat of our show, I'm a recovery addict. I'm addicted to recovering lost items in the ground, metal items. I like metal detecting. That's how I chose the name. It's a weird name. I wish I didn't choose it. I have regrets. Let's put it that way. It has nothing to do with any sort of addiction with chemical substances or mind-altering drugs or anything like that. But maybe one day I'll change my name. But for now, it is what it is, and just I'm glad you're here. So let's see. As you come in, make sure you go ahead and say hi in the chat. Let me know who you are, where you are, and where you're watching from. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Darrell Brooks trial and everything associated with it. It's like a circus, really. It's like a 3-ring circus. That never ends. Every day there's a bigger show. I'm not sure when the finale will be, but it's going to be absolutely incredible. You definitely don't want to miss it. Monday's going to have some incredible stuff as well. So we'll get into what's going to happen Monday. We'll get into what happened yesterday, how everything ended, because there was a ton of drama there. Ashton, welcome. Friday was very, very good. You were right, Ashton. Music of Life, cool. Welcome. Mermaid Lagoon. I was watching the other video yesterday, LOL, at 7:35:45. Brooks is wrote on the side of the box on documents, but remember, he don't identify by that as that name. We're going to talk a little bit about what he doesn't identify by and maybe cover some of the earliest video of him bringing that up. It just depends how much we have time for today. But it's gonna be a blast either way. Oh, I probably need to step it down a little bit because our blood pressure is going to go up. It's going to go way up during this video. How could it not, really? How could it not go up? For those of you that watch the trial, you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. This is absolutely crazy. I've got the judge, the wonderful Saint Judge, next to me here in the picture. This is a still image of her kicking Mr. Brooks out of the courtroom. One of the many times. I tried to count. I really did. I tried to count how many times she's kicked him out of the courtroom, and I lost count. There's too many times, and some of them are back and forth, minutes at a time, and some of them are hours, sometimes for the rest of the day. But it's crazy. I'll tell you, we'll have some really crazy numbers as well, as far as how many times he interjects or interrupts or disrupts or mumbles under his breath or says something disparaging in court. We've done some counts on at least one of those days, and I'll share those with you guys later as well. So we've got just a couple minutes here. We're going to dial the music down just a bit. I don't see any of my mods on yet, so if any of you are like super chatty in chat, you might be promoted. Just a heads up. I'm rather liberal with my moderator status, but I can give and I can take away, so I'll just warn you. For background on me, I told you a little bit how I chose my really weird name, which I've apologized for, and we'll change at some point, but for today, I'm a recovery addict. I'm not a judge. I'm not an attorney. I'm not in the courtroom, believe it or not. This is actually a backdrop. But I do play a judge, a jury, an attorney on YouTube, and that's why I'm here. I do have a little bit of legal knowledge. I'm a bit of a nut when it comes to law. I'm the kid who in junior high was reading all the laws that were proposed by the legislature in his state. That's just what I do. I like doing it. I like understanding. I like seeing how that impacts me and other people. So let's get ready here. We're going to dial down. Let me get that off the screen here. And it's gone. All right. We are going to start here. Okay. First of all, let me get really big on screen here so you can see me nice and clearly. Go ahead and stop casting that one if you would, Judge Wife. Thanks, that would be awesome. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we have a couple videos. I'm gonna get one set right now. The first thing I want to watch is we want to back up. I want to show you because most of us, truthfully, most of us didn't hear about the case until it was already underway, and just sort of heard about this bizarre the antics that were going on, and we're like, what is going on, and what happened? So we sort of had to play catch up. Well, the good news is almost everything that we heard about and had to play catch up on is recorded on video. There's a few things that got cut out because of privacy concerns for, like health, like HIPAA reasons, because there's some discussion about his, what do they call that? There were some mental examinations that went on that determined he had some personality disorders. 3 professionals determined he had some personality disorders, but you guys, being unprofessional, probably already knew that. We'll talk about the stare down, definitely. We'll talk about the stare down. I think I've got the footage of that one too. So let's get started with my videos. Okay, so I'm going to get this one going, and we're going to talk over it a little bit because it's a little bit long, right? So this is, let me take camera 3. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to be on here as well, so you can see me and talk to me. Okay, so this camera that they're watching here, this is a Zoom recording that was released.
Have you been informed, sir, regarding
by the court?
Exposure?
And this, we're going to turn down his audio just a tiny bit while this goes. This is the judge questioning Darrell Brooks on the day he fired his attorneys. And I'm sort of covering up, so I'm going to move out of the way here.
As to the intentional homicide charges,
move right over here. Sorry. Mr. Brooks is on the left in the bottom left-hand corner of my screen as I see it. He's in the orange jumpsuit wearing the mask. His attorneys are sitting next to him. These are the court-appointed attorneys. And he's appearing for this hearing for the purpose of determining if he will be granted his constitutional right to defend himself in court.
For the first-degree reckless and dangerous safety charges,
and it's painstakingly slow. It's so slow that, just to let you know, I watched it on like 1.5 times speed, maybe 2 times speed, and I felt it was long then. So we're going to talk over it a little bit. But I wanted to show this just so you knew that when you watch Darrell Brooks in court, when you see him completely floundering in his defense and failing miserably to represent himself, it's not the judge's fault. She was meticulous in talking to him about exactly what it would entail for him to be his own defense, for him to be his own attorney. And he swore up and down that he understood, he accepted, he knew and accepted those responsibilities, and he didn't see it as a problem. Now, there's a lot actually of discussion about what he did when he modified the document. Most of his modifications of the document where he requested to be his own representative in court have to do with changing the word, let's see. He changed it to say, I'm informed. It's a semantic thing, but he says, you've told me, but it takes some of the meaning away from I understand, right? So instead of saying I understand, it says I've been told. Not a big deal. The judge covered it meticulously, so we'll go over that. Let's listen just for a minute so you can get a feel for what the judge is doing here.
County expense, if you have been found not eligible for a public defender. You also have the right to represent yourself and act as your own attorney. Did you hear me just now, sir?
Yeah.
There is
She's asking this direct, did you hear me? Because so many times he does not answer or tries to answer something else. So she's very clearly stating, did you hear me, what I just said? She does this a lot.
The word understand is changed to am informed of. Is that true?
Yes.
The box is checked. Is that also true?
Yes.
So
did you check this box?
Yes.
She's going line by line through this form. She's reading it literally line by line and saying, is this accurate? Did you write this? Is this what you said? Is this what you meant? Do you understand what this means?
The form that I have,
as she's going through that.
Is changed to am informed. Do you see this section of the form, sir?
Yep.
Did you change the word understand to am informed?
Yes, I did.
So that's the change he's talking about. Did you change the word? And you'll find that a lot. There's one point where he didn't check a box that he sort of was supposed to.
Did you hear me just now, sir? On the form that I have, there is a line underneath that says, check this box if you have read and understand the above. The word understand has been crossed out and changed to am informed of. Do you see that?
Yeah.
The box is not checked. Do you see that?
She's like, why didn't you check the
Was
box?
that an oversight?
No, it's a reason.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you just said.
There is a reason.
Okay, so what he didn't do was
Do you
he corrected the paragraph that
Sir,
said, I've been informed
I
as to what,
advise you of what
my
an
legal
attorney
representation
would
would do for me.
Are you informed?
But he
of
wouldn't
what
check
an
the
attorney
box.
would do for you?
And so she has gone through and informed him of everything meticulously
check the
about
box?
the jury selection, about filing, all court documents and introducing evidence and questioning witnesses, everything that his attorneys would do for him. And he's like, I didn't check it.
So that, in a sense, is why that box specifically is not checked.
And he brings this
That
up
is
and
not
he
a correct
says,
statement of the law, sir.
yeah. So what he just said there, he said,
Standby counsel is
I
not for the
didn't check
benefit
it
of the
because
defendant, for the
I want to
benefit of the
represent myself, but I think I should have
That is still allowed for you to
like
have.
lawyers to help
Have
me.
you been advised, sir?
And she's like, it doesn't work
that
like
the
that.
public
Either
defender's office is
either
not
you have
able
representation or
to
you
perform
don't.
standby counsel duties?
No, I have not been advised that.
There is a rule that was promulgated by the
So
Public
she's going to
Defender
explain that the
Board
public
in
defenders can't
Wisconsin
help.
that
If she
prohibits
grants
public
this request and
defenders
says,
from
okay,
acting in the
you're
capacity of
not, they're no
standby
longer
counsel.
going to represent you,
Did
they're
you hear
gone.
me
They
advising
get
you
up,
that
they
just
leave, they
now?
leave all their notes and their boxes, and it's all in his court. And so he's asking, hang on, I didn't know
You
they
referenced
they
standby
couldn't
counsel,
help
sir.
me.
I'm advising you that the
But
public defender's
but she
office
goes
is
through the
not
rules.
able
She says,
to
here's how it
act in
is.
that
That they have a
capacity.
rule. They're not allowed
Did you hear
to.
what I just said?
I heard what you
He's
just
basically
said.
he's
I
waiving
had-
one part of his Sixth Amendment. That very last phrase of the Sixth Amendment, where he has a right to legal representation.
Some type of law or some type of-
It says Sixth Amendment. We'll read that really quickly because it's a short one. It's a little paragraph. In all criminal prosecutions, which this is, and Darrell Brooks
This court
has treated this like a
Sir,
civil
you
prosecution.
should be advised,
But in all criminal
would
prosecutions,
not be appointed
the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public
to
trial
represent you
by impartial jury of the state and
That
district
is
wherein the crime shall have been
standby
committed,
counsel in
which
district.
district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, that means he can subpoena them, and to have the assistance of his counsel for his defense. So that he is waiving the and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense part of his Sixth Amendment using this form. And so because he is waiving a constitutional right, she is being very careful to make sure he understands what he's doing.
That this trial will start next Monday, October 3rd.
Okay.
Did you hear me say that?
So she's like, look, this is the 11th hour. It is 11:58. The trial starts at midnight. And you're telling me today that you don't want lawyers.
And I object on the grounds that are you.
And she says, just so you know, we've had to poll 1,600 jurors
Sir, I
to
further
try to
going
get people
advise you
that
that
were unbiased, that weren't connected to the incident, that were able to to judge this free and fairly. And she says, I'm not going to put the trial on hold. We have gone to so much effort. We have done so much preparation. We are starting on Monday, whether you're ready or not.
This court
So she
will
can't tell him,
appoint
I
any
recommend
other attorney
you keep attorneys.
to act
She can't say that. She can't give him advice. She's not allowed to.
standby counsel.
But she can say, look, this is what's happening. This is the situation. Are you sure? Really? Are you really, really sure you want to do this?
Did you hear me say that, sir?
Is that the answer to the question?
Sir, did you hear me just now?
Is that the answer to the question?
This
So
is not a question and answer.
he's
session,
belligerent
sir.
from the
I'm
get-go.
giving you certain advisements. Did you hear me advise you just now?
Did you hear the question I asked? Because it sounds like a.
Mr. Brooks, we'll move on. You are advised
You are
that,
arresting the
Mr. Brooks, you are advised that this court will not appoint standby counsel.
Okay, you said.
There
that, but
are
you
a
didn't
number
answer.
of reasons
Okay,
which
so
I will
she made a
advise you
judicial
make
ruling
it
there that he
impractical.
has been advised. He refused to
The
answer
The
that.
trial is scheduled.
That
Pretty
Mr.
much
Brooks,
answers
do not
everything
interrupt.
else that
That
he
is
has
correct.
advised.
Mr. Brooks.
That's the one
Answer the
thing
question.
where she made a judicial determination.
So we
Rest
are
the judgment.
here, Mr. Brooks, we are
Okay.
here because
I talked over it, but
you want
try to
represent
count in
yourself.
today's
Yeah, I
live
didn't file a
stream
motion.
how many times the judge's soul leaves her body as she
That
gives
is
just
not
a sigh,
relevant, sir. The
just to be
motion
like,
is
oh
before
my
you,
goodness,
and I'm
please
going
just
to address it.
take me now.
Stop talking
You know,
over me.
please make me not have to go through this.
Really asking
I
a
need
question?
to get through the advisement.
And I would like to know the answer to the question.
You
that
are
I'm
being
asking.
difficult.
Yes,
You are not listening.
you're acting like a
You are trying
2-year-old.
to interject irrelevant factors for this court.
It has
So,
merit.
stop.
It's not irrelevant.
Stop.
I have a
Mr.
constitutional
Brooks,
right to
I'm
be able
going
to
to
ask questions.
continue. Please stop talking.
So it is a rested judgment.
Please be quiet, please.
Mr. Brooks,
She has to get through this form.
the case law makes very clear you can't waive your right to an attorney.
She's going to correct herself here.
Let me rephrase that. The case law makes clear you cannot act as your own attorney, right? Exercise your right of self-representation while simultaneously exercising the right to counsel. Did you hear me say that?
You can't have both, right? You can't represent yourself and also have representation. They're mutually exclusive.
For a specific reason, the way that it was.
Sir, I'm not going to entertain a request for whether it be called standby counsel, hybrid
That's not what I'm talking
representation.
about.
Your attorneys have told me you want to represent yourself. That is why we are having this hearing here today.
The funny thing about this is his attorneys actually have to help
The
him
next section
without
of
giving
this
him
form is
advice.
entitled, "I understand
When he
that
says,
if
I want to
I
represent myself,
myself,"
they have to help him through the process
But
to
on my
represent himself
copy,
while still
the
giving him
copy he
counsel
filed in
and
this
coaching him
case,
through
it
this
says,
process.
"I
Right
am
now, he's
informed
still
that
under
I
representation
represent
because the
myself."
attorneys are there on the bench.
Do you see that section, sir?
This is common. He loses papers quite a bit.
The section that is labeled,
As the
"I understand that if I represent myself," but the word
his attorney is going to
"understand"
help
has
him
been
find that
changed to
paper.
"am informed."
But
On page 2.
as the trial goes on, he gets more and more disorganized, and the amount of time he spends trying to find his paperwork grows longer and longer. There are even points, we might even cover it today, where he accuses people of taking papers off his desk because he can't find them. And it's important paperwork, like the questions he was going to ask his witness that he's about to call, things like that. It's just, it's crazy
Thank
to
you.
see
Do
how
you that
unprepared he
section,
is.
sir?
Now, what section were you referring to?
The section that says, "I understand that if I represent myself," but the word "understand" is scratched out, and it now reads, "I am informed that if I represent myself." It's on page 2. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
You are advised, sir, that the judge, that's me, cannot be your attorney and cannot give you any legal advice.
Okay.
You are further advised that the district attorney cannot be your
She's
attorney.
saying, we
and
won't be
cannot
able to
give
help
legal
you.
advice.
You'll be on your own, right?
You are further advised that the judge, district attorney, and court personnel
Okay,
are
I'm going to
not
turn this down. We're going
required
to talk a little
explain
bit.
court procedures or the law.
This goes on. This goes on for
further advised
25
that
minutes,
the judge cannot treat you
saying, not really giving him counsel,
You
but
are
saying,
further
look,
advised
this is the situation.
you will
You know,
be
these
required
are the sort of things that are going to be
follow all
happening.
rules and
You'll have to make all these, you'll have to follow the rules of evidence to get evidence submitted. You'll have to handle the subpoenas. You'll have to handle the jury selection and the preemptive strikes on jurors and all that.
You are further advised that if you want to testify, you must
We're having a little bit of a lag here. Just one second.
from the district attorney. You are further advised that it may be difficult for you to do a good job as your own attorney. Did you hear the advisements that I just read to you, sir?
Yeah, I heard.
You are further advised, sir, that
Change it just a little bit here. See if we can get it to speed up.
may be very challenging.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Easy dog. I love that. A couple comments here. As it looks like we're coming back. Next here. Honestly, you've. This is crazy. Just above me on the window you're seeing, you can see the prosecution. You wonder. Don't even have any lawyers opposing us. This is